dog. Now, there's not much relevance between this dog and the topic of self-esteem, but hey, I've got a puppy and I love to show him off. I figure you'd probably prefer to look at him than me anyway. One thing I'm discovering though is that two things make his tail wag very reliably. One is food. He's an absolute garbage guts. Food is a total delight to him. The other thing that makes his tail wag is when he does something clever and gets praised for it. A trained dog is a happy dog. He enjoys doing things well and then getting the praise and rewards. And of course, you've guessed what his favourite reward is. It's food. I think I'll get rid of this little distraction. Kids are much the same, but with fewer fleas. They thrive on encouragement, praise, and your gratitude. It provides an instant boost to their self-esteem. Here's a parenting truth you should hang on the wall. Praise is always the fastest route to change. If you want to change the way your kids act, then praise and encouragement is going to make that change happen quicker than any other method you can think of. It's far more potent than grizzling, nagging, or threats. So when your kids get it right, even by accident, praise them up. Go out of your way to do it. Make an effort to catch your kids doing the right thing and compliment them for it. At the end of a day, you might be able to say to yourself, I spent all day praising the kids, instead of, I spent all day telling the kids off. Guess which sort of day the kids are going to enjoy more. Guess which sort of day you're going to enjoy more. It'll change the atmosphere, it'll change their attitude, it will change their behaviour, and it'll be a tonic for their self-esteem. And kids need good self-esteem. If they feel good about themselves, they'll have confidence to try things. They won't be crippled by self-doubts and shyness. Bullies don't pick on kids with good self-image. And they don't need to be bullies if they've got a good self-image. If they know their own strengths, then they won't feel the need to take on a role in their group to fit in, like the role of the bully or the role of the ratbag or the gang leader's lackey or the clown or the flirt or the daredevil. If they get good self-esteem from you, then they don't have to do crazy stuff with their mates to impress them.
And it's amazing how easy it is to get stuck in the habit of only picking up on the negative. Of course you can see their faults and weaknesses, but let that be only a small percentage of what you feed back to your kids about themselves. We have to be deliberate in how we edit the messages we transmit to them. And the good stuff we can comment on is there. It's just obscured by a thin layer of childhood rubble. Here's a tip. Sit down and make a list of 6 things that you actually really do like about your child. Stick the list somewhere where it will remind you and make a deliberate effort to compliment them on those things every day. One mum I know tried this technique with a daughter with whom she was finding it hard to get along with. She said to me afterwards, I admit it was really hard at the start, but after a while I noticed that my attitude was changing. I started to see again the lovely things that I really loved about my daughter, and she picked up on the change too. My attitude to her genuinely changed her attitude to me. She even started complimenting me. But more importantly, I think she started to see herself more positively as well.
Be specific about what it is that you really think is praiseworthy. Rather than just general, you're okay type messages, give them words that they can use to label themselves with. Hey, that piano is sounding great. You're a real musician. I appreciated the way you included your little brother in your game today. You must be one of those kind people who enjoys helping others. Praise is powerful, but it can be made absolutely powerless. You do that by praising when praise isn't deserved. Be lavish in praise, be generous, but only give it when they've done something genuinely praiseworthy. Imagine you've sent your boys off to tidy their room and then you go down sometime later and you go in and they obviously haven't done a thing. They're just lying on their bunks reading comics. If you go in there and say, this is marvellous, this is wonderful, you boys are so great at tidying up, they're going to think Dad is stupid or Dad is blind or most likely Dad's praise isn't worth a thing. He just flaps his jaw and out come those words, but they don't mean anything. You've just devalued your most potent tool.
So do praise up the things they do, even the minor things. But when you can't praise, then encourage. Some parents think when they can't praise, they have to criticise. But no, if you can't praise, then encourage. A better response would have been to go into that room and say, hey, I've seen you've made a bit of a start here, but I know you boys can do a lot better than this. I see some pyjamas that need to go under the pillow, some books that need to go in the bookcase, and some CDs that need to go back in their cases. I'll come back in 5 minutes and see how you're doing. because I know you guys could do a great job. You've encouraged them. You've also broken the task into kid-sized bites and made the task more specific. And that's always a good way to get cooperation. If they get part of the job done right, compliment them on the bits they've done well before reminding them of the bits they haven't. If kids are making progress towards a goal, celebrate the steps in the right direction. Don't wait till they graduate from university to compliment them. Rather, make a fuss that they've moved up a spelling level.
Another real boost to a child's self-esteem is knowing that they are good at something. My 11-year-old boy started learning the saxophone 3 years ago. Now that he's at intermediate school, he has discovered that his skill and confidence in music has been incredibly useful in identifying who he is. He is Bernie the sax player. Every child has got some talent or ability that, when polished up, can allow them to excel. It might be artistic, academic or sporting, or it might be something like an ability to make people laugh or to make friends. Get in early during the primary school years and start cultivating skills. Be prepared to try out a range of things. Just because you loved rugby doesn't mean that your son will want to follow suit. Your music genes might be dormant in your daughter. Perhaps they'll show up in your grandchildren. But in the meantime, introduce her to something else like hockey or swimming or dance. You might get clues about where your child's giftings lie early on, but chances are you'll have to try a few things before they become clear. Remember, every child is a gifted child. It's just that their gifts are sometimes very well wrapped.